What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the Week 8 edition of the Eagles Stock Watch. Took last week off just because it didn't make sense, if the Eagles having 8 days off in a row to really discuss who's trending towards the Cowboys so early. So here we are. It's a spooky edition, if you want to call it that. It's going to be a little spooky with so many reports coming out with the whole Jason Peters playing left tackle, Eagles sitting Majority Mailata, Doug Peterson comparing it to Nelson Aguilar. Should we pause for that moment, guys? Should we actually think about that for a second? Yeah. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. This week we're going to go over who's trending up and who's trending down heading towards the Dallas Cowboys matchup on Sunday Night Football. So let's take a look at who's trending up this week. So if we're actually being honest for a moment, it's very rare nowadays for the Eagles to have a player over the age of 30 years old producing at such a high level. Well, it's happening in 2020. Brandon Graham has been a man possessed. I mean, the guy is third in the NFL in sacks. He's behind Aaron Donald and Myles Garrett. He's tied with Darius Smith of the Green Bay Packers. Brandon Graham has 6 sacks, 10 QB hits, 9 tackles for losses, 14 pressures, 5 hurries in just 7 games into the season. It's phenomenal to see this at 32 years old. I mean, he's third in the NFL in sacks, and you see it week in, week out. Brandon Graham has this inner energy that nobody could really match. I've never seen it. The guy just gets into a character where he hypes himself up by just speaking out loud. The guy where you literally yell out, "Hey, pass me a hot dog, bad hot dog, good hot dog," and he just gets super hyped and super amped. So it's phenomenal to see Brandon Graham just producing at this level of his career. Once labeled an outcast, once labeled a bust, to a possible Philadelphia Eagle legend by the end of his career. And he's doing it without any type of publicity. Nobody's talking about Brandon Graham. Nobody's talking about the 32-year-old defensive end of the Philadelphia Eagles right now. Nobody. But Brandon Graham needs to be spoken about. The guy deserves all the publicity in the world. He's the most deserving Eagle right now. I mean, for the past couple years, honestly. The guy deserves to have a career year, and it's finally blossoming at this point in his career at the age of 32. So Brandon Graham, hats off to you. Your stock is rising, and I love to see it, man. You gotta love to see a player like him just go out there and produce at such a high level. You don't really see that nowadays, where players have this energy just built up in them, and they just rip open their shirt and just start unleashing the beast. So again, hats off to you, Brandon Graham. Your stock is definitely rising this week. So let's keep the energy on the defensive side of the ball. Let's focus on a player that's actually influencing and impacting the defense in such a positive manner, just like Brandon Graham. Darius Slay, the man who we traded a 3rd-round pick to the Detroit Lions for. The man who said he's too old to play cornerback for the Eagles. He's going to be struggling. Guys, do you understand that the Eagles went from one of the worst defenses when it came to yards allowed last season to now this season we're 7th in yards allowed? Darius Slay has literally shown his worth to the Philadelphia Eagles. He's completely robbed the opposing quarterbacks of one side of the field, or robbed the opposing quarterbacks of their best receiver. So far for the season, he hasn't allowed a single receiver to receive for more than 47 receiving yards. That's phenomenal. Do you guys not remember the days of Rasul Douglas getting beat by the double move, Jalen Mills getting beat by the double move, Avonte Maddox just getting beat, Sidney Jones just not showing up? Now, hats off to those guys because they're showing up on their respective defenses right now. They fit the schemes that they're currently with, but we're focusing on Darius Slay. Darius Slay has literally taken this secondary into the palm of his hands and just Thanos it. He was the final piece. Unfortunately, we do need help on the other side. Nick Roby-Coleman hasn't really showed up this season in his first year as an Eagle. Avonte Maddox has been out because of injury, but he should be back against the Dallas Cowboys. But if you know anything, Avonte Maddox does struggle against man coverage. So here's to Avonte Maddox really soaking in that time on the sideline and really observing how Darius Slay actually works on his craft. I mean, if you look at it, Darius Slay against Terry McLaurin, 2 catches on 3 targets for 28 yards. Robert Woods, 1 for 2 for 13 yards. A.J. Green, 3 of 4 for 31 yards. Marquise Brown, 3 of 3 for 47 yards. And Darius Slay in 2 of 2 for 23 yards. Now, he did give up his one touchdown of the season to Sterling Shepard on that 2-yard line touchdown against the Giants. But other than that, Darius Slay has been playing phenomenal. I mean, you can't really argue with what we have now. Darius Slay is the best quarterback that we've had in quite some time. I mean, if we can go all the way back to days of Asante Samuel. Like, that's how good Darius Slay really is. Now, I know he doesn't have a pick six right now. He doesn't have an interception yet, but his presence has really been felt on the defensive side of the ball, and it's something that you really, as an Eagles fan, you really cherish. You're happy to see this because we finally made a move for a player, a big-time player, and it's actually paying dividends. We're actually seeing the worth of this player on the field, and it's phenomenal to see. I mean, hats off to Darius Slay. Hats off to the Slay family. Even his wife has been phenomenal with the fans. So definitely, we know we love you guys. Welcome to Philly, and big hats off to you guys. Let's focus on the other side. John Hightower. The kid has phenomenal big playability. He's had back-to-back games with 50-plus yard receptions. No other receiver in the history of the NFL has actually done that. Not at all. I mean, for a rookie, like, that's phenomenal. And we can't really argue with that because we haven't seen that in a long time. We haven't seen that since week 1 of 2019. But before that, when was the last time we saw anybody catch a 50-yard bomb? Exactly. Anyways, while Hightower has been phenomenal with the deep ball, he has had his struggles with catching the ball. But that's okay. That's something that's teachable. That's something that he could really learn from and develop in his craft. I mean, he's still a rookie, but the fact that he's developed this relationship with Carson Wentz, where Carson Wentz, no matter how many times Hightower drops the ball, Carson is going to find Hightower on that deep route. It's just a fact. I mean, the kid has developed about, I think, 6.7 yards of cushion after beating his defender. He leads the NFL in air yards with 22.4. I mean, this is the deep receiver that we've wanted. And now going into Sunday night, we're going to see John Hightower. We're going to see Greg Ward Jr. We're going to see the return of Jalen Rhaegar Targaryen, as Chris would say. We're going to see Travis Fulgham. We're finally seeing the Eagles invest in the youth at the wide receiver position. But they're lacking in investing in the youth at another position, which we're going to speak on for stock down matter. But before we get there, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, Philly Sports Network, if you want to catch up on all the latest Phillies, Sixers, Eagles. And make sure you subscribe to our audio platform, PSN Radio, available on all platforms, Apple, Google, Spotify. We're literally everywhere where you want us to be. Honestly, we're at the convenience of your fingertips. Just tune in. I mean, we have you covered on every single cylinder. Union, Phillies, Sixers, Eagles. No matter what it is, we have you covered. Make sure you subscribe to that. Subscribe to this YouTube channel as well. And right now, let's focus on whose stock is trending down. This is going to be fun. And it might even be a little bit emotional. Not really emotional. It's just a little bit aggravating. Jason Peters, to me, is trending down. And here's the reason why. Last season, the Eagles played Andre Dillard at right tackle. After they pulled Dillard from the game, sat him down, benched him pretty much, Peters said, I could have played right tackle. That wouldn't have been a problem, pretty much. If that's the case, why didn't you play right tackle, knowing that Andre Dillard is a young player who only knows the left tackle position? Then this season, Dillard goes down with an injury, before the season, my apologies, and the report comes out that Peters is asking for more money to play left tackle. Ironically, Peters gets the money, but then Doug Peterson says, hey, Jason came to the office saying, the only way we can win is if I play left tackle. Yeah, cut the nonsense. Jason Peters is a 38-year-old left tackle who is out for himself only. And that's my opinion. It's just, it's the fact of the matter is this. He hasn't shown his ability to put the team first. If you see from the sideline that Mailata is progressing in such a great way, that's something that's so rare to see for the Philadelphia Eagles. As a captain, as a leader, I'm going to say, you know what? The best way for us to win is if Mailata is playing left tackle and I play one of the guard spots. Let's load up on the spots that we're really lacking in. Let me help the young Mailata by playing left guard. Or let me help an ailing Lane Johnson by playing right guard. Let me do that for you, coach. Let me do that for you, Philly. Jason Peters is not showing that he's for Philly. Jason Peters is for Jason Peters. And could you blame him? No, you can't. But I am blaming him in this situation. Because if you really want to win, if you really want this team to succeed, you will put this team in the best possible position to succeed. As a 38-year-old Hall of Fame left tackle who's still playing. By the grace of God, you're still playing, even though you played probably like a quarter or two. Anyways, put this team in the best position to win. Play one of the guard spots. We're lacking at guard. Show up for your team. Until then, you're trending down terribly. I don't see how anybody can applaud you coming to left tackle, especially when we see Mailata developing the way he is. This is nothing like the Nelson Aguilar situation. Aguilar was pulled because Aguilar was bad. He was struggling bad. Mailata is going up, he's going down, he's going up, he's going down, but he's progressing and he's learning from it. Mailata also has that bulldog mentality that you want at the left tackle position. You want your bodyguard to be a pit bull, and that's what Mailata is. So for now, Jason Peters, you are trending way down for me. The next person on our list isn't a player at all, and he's actually been featured on my stock watch a couple times so far. But he's been on the bad side of it, and maybe he's on the good side of it after the trade deadline. Who knows? Howie Roseman is trending down to me, and it's not going to be for the reasons you're thinking. While he's been under a wild amount of scrutiny lately with his influence on game day roster, with his bringing in players that don't fit the scheme per se, with his own ideal of running a roster opposed to running a roster alongside his coaches, which is not uncommon in the NFL from what I've learned. Still though, all in all, my theory is, as a general manager, you should be working hand in hand with your coach to make sure you give your coach the best tools he needs to succeed. It's common sense to me. When you're working on a car, you need the right tools to work on the car. When you're, doing anything, when you're doing podcasting, you need the right tools to podcast. Howie Roseman, though, has not given the Eagles the right tools since 2017's free agent class. The free agent classes have been pretty bad ever since. We don't have a Chris Long walking through the door. We kind of have a young Alshon Jeffrey and Travis Fulgham, so he doesn't get credit for that because that's the practice squad. Anyways, the Eagles signed Will Parks this offseason, who has found himself on the trade block for some wild reason, even though he's only played like 2 games. Which could mean that, maybe the Eagles are liking to the flipping the birds' very own Kayvon Wallace. So shout out to you, Kayvon. But furthermore, Will Parks has found himself on a trade block, which is a bit odd, to me at least. He signed Javon Hargrave. Javon Hargrave has not had a game where people are saying like, oh, wow, this is the guy that we signed. Yeah, that's great. He hasn't shown up at all. And it could be, because this is a different scheme. Whatever the case may be, he just hasn't shown up. He signed Jatavis Brown, who retired from the NFL before anything began. So here's a happy retirement to you, Jatavis. I hope you're doing well. Hope the family's well as well. The last signee, from what I can remember, Nickel Roby-Coleman, who has a passer rating of 117 allowed against him. I think he's only allowed about like 5 incompletions against him. So he's been struggling a bit. Yeah, that's the free agent class that Howie Roseman brought into for the Eagles. Yeah, it's been bad. And how can this team be successful when so many pieces are always moving? I mean, last year we had LJ Fort, who apparently everybody except for LJ Fort knew that the Eagles signed him to cut him later on for a comp pick. He's now one of the better linebackers in the league and signed a pretty nice contract with the Baltimore Ravens, who are a contender. That's just factual right now. And I'm sorry, my allergies are acting up a little bit. But that's just factual. Howie Roseman has had such a bad time with these free agent classes. He did well in the draft. I'll give him that. He did very well in the draft, in my opinion. People are going to argue the Jalen Hurts pick. People are going to argue Davion Taylor. For the most part, Howie Roseman did very well in the draft for me. But the free agency was it was bad. It was very bad. And you have to question if Howie Roseman has really lost his mojo, or did he ever even have mojo? Did he just really get lucky in 2017 where all these players just wanted to come to Philly because of Carson? Let's not forget that. Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith came to Philly because of Carson Wentz. I wouldn't doubt that LeGarrette Blount came to Philly because of Carson Wentz. Some things make more sense than others. They didn't come to Philly because of Howie Roseman. Howie Roseman just dotted the I's and crossed the T's for them. And he's been pretty bad since 2017. So, barring any wild trade at the trade deadline, until further notice, Howie is trending so far down, it's terrible. I can't even explain how far down he is because I can't even see him at this point from where I'm at. But yeah, Howie Roseman, you're still trending down. I apologize for the inconvenience, but you put yourself in this hole, literally. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for this week's Eagles Stock Watch. I'm Brian Cameron once again. Apologies if I didn't introduce myself beforehand, but I expect you guys to know who I am. Sorry. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you guys subscribe to Philly Sports Network's YouTube channel. And on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, catch me on Flipping the Birds, whether it's audio or video. With my co-host Chris Infante, we bring you the best in Eagles news and Eagles everything pretty much. We even have a Know Your Enemy segment where we invite the opposing team's writers. So we've actually been doing pretty good with that. Make sure you guys tune into that. Make sure you guys tune into this network to catch anything Eagles, everything Eagles. And until then, go Birds.